Okay, the purpose of this video is to bring my daughter up to speed so she could start helping me make some changes to my website and get some practical experience on actual programming. So I'm going to, in this first video, just do a little bit of background and probably talk too much about things that aren't going to be important. But I feel like sometimes you need the background to understand where you came from. So this is going to be web development. We are going to create a web page, which means that there's going to be programming and interactivity. The important concept to understand is the model view controller architecture. Model, if you look at that red box, is just your business logic, your business data. So imagine that we're going to have a website where you can buy something. Well, the model says, here's a product, here's how much it costs, here's where you buy it from, and all of that information. That's all of the business logic that's in the model. The view is what the user sees. So the user sees a picture of the image. Maybe they click on it. Maybe they click on add to cart. The controller takes that information, talks to the model, and decides what information it might need, and then creates a new view for you to look at. So if I say, I'm looking at this product, I'm thinking of buying it, but let me see the next product, I click on a button, the controller says, oh, the next product is this one, I got it from the model, and now I'll create a new view for you. This is important, especially when you get into the programming. If you have this concept of model and view and controller, then you can see why things are in certain places and why things are done a certain way. It's not the only way to do it, it's just one way to look at the architecture of the program. Now, she may not have very much experience with databases or understanding exactly what a database is. But remember, this is all of the information and some of the logic about how that information can be stored. It's a constant battle of who's responsible for correct information. The database can put certain restrictions. For example, say, hey, I'm trying to create a new user, but I only allow unique usernames. So the username you chose is not allowed. Or you could put all the information, all the responsibility on the application, the controller. And the controller may decide, hey, I only want usernames that have both a uppercase and a lowercase name, and can restrict some of the information that's allowed to go into the table. Now, when we're talking about databases, we're talking about a table. This is a sample table. A record is a single entity inside of that table. So for example, that one record right there that's pointing to the company name is Destinée Concepts. That Destinée Concepts has an address, it has a city, state, zip, and phone. All of those are called fields. Okay? In a single table, every record has the same fields. And information in those fields is called the data value. What we could do here is we have this table with all this information, and I can say, show me all of the companies that are in Seattle, or show me all the companies that are in Bellevue, or show me all the companies whose name starts with a letter versus a number. And we can sort and grab that information. Again, it's very simple for products. Show me all the products that look like this or have this designer or anything like that. And this is how the information is stored. Now, in a database, there's many tables, and they have relationships, and that's very important to your design. And there's something called normalization, which I don't know if we're going to talk about too much. But the idea is to have your information concise so that it's not repeated, and that it's consistent, so that if I ask a question one way, I'm going to get the same answer if I ask it a different way. With a database, there's really only 4 things that you can do, or all the things that you can do can be categorized in 4 different ways. Create. I can add a record. I'm going to add a new product. I'm going to create a new record. I'm going to create this record by saying, here's the information that you need for this product. I can read. Show me all the products that are Disney characters. I can update it. You know, this product, we used to get it from this manufacturer, now we're getting it from someone else, or the price has gone up. And delete. We no longer want this information in our database. More often than not, you're going to want to preserve all information and not delete it, but you're going to want to inactivate it. But these are the 4 things that you could do. Some people say there's also search, which is really just a unique way of reading. You're searching for certain ones that have a criteria and you want to see those. So here's the 4 things that we need: create, read, update, and delete. And those are the operations that the controller will do to the database or to the model. The database that we're going to be using is MySQL, which is a very unique construct to its language and how it does things. Remember, everything we're going to be doing here is going to be on our local computer, and eventually we'll upload it to a server, a MySQL server, which will send us that information. We're going to be programming in PHP, certainly not the only language, but the language that we're going to be using. It's grown. It used to be just a scripting language for simple HTML pages. In fact, PHP used to stand for personal home page, but has grown to be even very complex arrays and objects and all sorts of things. It's not a compiled language, but it is a very robust language and freely available and maintained. Now, frameworks are just a bunch of pages already written with tools and classes and all sorts of things written for you, so you're not going to have to write the same thing that has already been written before. The framework we're going to be using is the Yi framework. So everything is going to be done kind of through their framework and how they do things. Here are the tools that we will be using. MySQL Workbench will be used for designing the database tables and the schema of the database. XAMPP is a program that actually allows me to run an Apache server on my local machine and a SQL server on my local machine so that I can do all my development without being connected to the internet. NetBeans is where I'm going to actually write the PHP code and look at the PHP code. And Chrome is where I'm going to actually view all of those results. Long term, you have to look at what Explorer does. It's a very popular browser, and there are some very unique things for Explorer, and you have to take that into consideration. But for the time being, we're just going to be looking at Chrome. The overall strategy is to create something similar to Amazon.com. We're not going to copy their website, but you understand that you search for products, you click on products, you view products, you put them into a shopping cart, and you purchase those products. That is generally what this website is going to be doing.